Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. I tell you, everything is happening now. You got graduates, you got Father's Day. We're going to talk about graduates first. And you know who we have back here? Camara Richmond, you know, the young lady that has a terrific radio show. So, hey, Camara, tell us a little bit about,
you.
we're going to talk about graduation. You know, when you say graduating, are you talking about kindergarten, high school, or college, or grad school? And just what level do you think is so important to youngsters now?
Well, thank you, Mr. Brown, for having me on the show. I think our kids need to start with Head Start.
Oh,
And, you know,
good.
there's a lot of
Head Start. Tell us about
Head Start.
the value of Head Start.
Well, you know, the children, I think, become more, if you're in that environment, by the time you get to first grade, you've been around other children, you've learned how to read and write to some extent. And with some of the funding now, educational funding, a lot of states want to opt out of the Head Start. But we know how important that is for a child's development. And as we were talking before the show started, you have to, this day and age, have your high school diploma.
Yes.
If you don't have your high school diploma, and we were talking about the statistics, you are less likely to make 3 times less
money.
Less
right.
money than someone with a college education.
The competition that you're going, I
Yes.
say years ago, the high school was mandatory. You know,
Right.
now the high school is mandatory, but what they're demanding that you have a college. The competition on the college
Yes.
level is almost like it used to be for the high school.
Yes, and I had someone on my show who dealt with literacy, and she gave some really, the statistics were like staggering. By the time some of the children graduate high school, they're still reading at like a 6th grader. It's
Sixth grade level.
astounding.
What,
Yeah, they're
was
not.
that because they weren't homeschooled?
Well, it's not just the homeschooling. I think
No.
it's just the school. Or she was saying how they have a lot of funding for these underprivileged schools, but it's how the money is managed. So it's not always the money that's going straight to the student to get the better education. Sometimes that money is just allocated for something else in the school system. But it was staggering from the time they go from high school, and if some become incarcerated, maybe 70 or 80% of those incarcerated can't read or write.
80%.
So it's a large,
I didn't know it was that high.
number. I think it's higher, actually. I think it's higher. But the good thing, you know, now we're in graduation season. The good thing is that a lot of children are opting out to go, well, let me just do a 2-year, a community college.
Yeah, right.
And maybe have that gap year and go to 4-year,
Right.
or after the 4-year, take a gap year and then go on to get your master's and that. And so that makes sense when it comes to money. If you're
when
not,
it comes to money,
yeah,
it's a terrific difference.
yeah, if
See.
you don't have a scholarship, but
If
you
don't
still
have a
want to
scholarship,
go,
it's almost impossible for a
exactly,
youngster to go to a college now.
exactly, exactly. And so by the time, let's say someone that's graduating 10 years from now, can you imagine what the price is going to be?
Yeah, out of sight.
To have a college education or to get a college education?
It's like a house note. You know,
Yes.
when they graduate, you know, they have a house note that the school loan. They talk about school loan, but I think that this country on the level that it's been on, and our taxes reflect that, is that the education, especially to the level of community college, should be free, because that would pay off in the job market. That would pay off tremendously if they allow those youngsters that can't afford junior college go to junior college free,
Right.
just like they do from to 12th grade.
Yeah.
I think they should raise that, because just like a lot of people, they don't do the homework, but most of your taxes go into education. Prince George County is, hey, I think it's 67, 80% of the budget. Imagine most of the 67% of our taxes actually go
Right.
into education, and we're on a lower rung as far as this area is concerned. Montgomery County and
Right.
Virginia, Fairfax County, and all those places, Anne Arundel
Right.
County, they all they're putting more money, and even them, they're putting more money into the budget for education. But I think you have a point where they are getting the money, but they're not delivering.
Right, which
Yeah.
I thought was shocking.
Yeah, because no youngster should be graduating from high school not reading at a certain level.
Exactly, exactly. And so that just says a lot about the system itself. But I think education and healthcare, which is different subject, I think they should both be free.
Yeah.
Because let's say you do graduate from college, how long is it going to take you to pay that? Once I left school.
Like I say, what is a house note? Usually 20, 30 years.
It is.
And that's what school loans are getting in that neighborhood
They
too.
are, because I know when I graduated, I had, every year the rate just goes up and up and up, and you can pay on. I mean, that was going on for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I finally got to a point where I was able to pay it off, but it had been like 10 years.
Imagine. That's what I'm saying. School loan, 10 years to pay for it after you graduate. That's ridiculous. That's why I say that the youngsters should get free education up to the community college level.
Right.
Because that would better prepare them, and it would be a benefit to the community, because then they would be better prepared to go into the work world.
They can start their own business.
Right, that's what I mean.
Whatever they majored in, they can finally, find a job in that field. And for me, that makes sense for the economy
Because
to
what
do
happens
that.
is that they become a burden anyway.
Exactly.
If you don't put your money into the education, then you put it in welfare and other programs to help them to actually develop.
Right. And let's say you want to graduate from a school that's out of your state. So why should you be made to suffer because the out-of-state tuition is going to be, of course, much higher if you stay in state?
Right.
But you have to think about room and board.
Yeah.
And
well, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what they talk about the United States. But I think the worst thing. There's a positive thing in it, but the worst thing is that each jurisdiction, state, have different rules on education.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Exactly.
They should have an educational standard, a national standard.
Absolutely.
And then the different counties and states would be actually, they would have to live up to those standards.
Right.
And it would pay off, because those individuals would become good citizens and producing tax money and everything.
Exactly.
They would, if in fact they put more attention to that, the young people that are graduating, they would bring forth more money to the county or the state. But it's an investment. That's when education is an investment. Because that means the person's not out there in crime. They're living on a different level where crime disappears.
Right, because you try to live within your means,
right?
But you can do that, but your paycheck may not reflect
the
that.
environment that you're in.
We're talking about
some areas
school, and we're talking about food and gas and utilities. You're talking about the taxes in Montgomery County, Prince George's County are really high.
Yeah.
Really, really
Right.
high.
And see, it's to me, you know, everybody looks at the dollar, but to me, they don't understand that education is an investment.
It is an
That's, I
investment.
mean, you're investing in the future of your town or city or state. And those individuals, they either be a positive citizen or a negative citizen.
Exactly.
When crime goes up, then they become a negative system because you have to put more money in the criminal
Into the prisons
system.
and
Why put all of the money in the criminal system when you
right.
can put it in the educational system?
And see, the prison system, that's just big business
Yeah,
now.
right.
As my guest was telling me, by the time, you know, you're 8 years old for African American youth, depending where you are, they've already started building prisons
Yeah,
for you
right.
because they expect you to be there. So there's the commercial, if you haven't, your brain develops by age, what's the age? Like 80% or something by the time you're 3. I
Right.
could have that wrong, and I could just be dramatic, but
Yeah.
but it's something like that. But for African American children, especially the men, if you don't get it by like age 8, you are, you know, you've already missed something.
And I'm wondering, is this part of the parents' fault that the African American male is not as successful as the African American female?
Well, you know,
I don't know
and the-
whether the male, you find the percentage, a good percentage of, what do you say, 70, 80% of the young males under 25 in prison. Yeah. But you
Yeah.
don't find that with the African female African American.
Yeah, well, you know, there's the study, I think we've talked about it before, where, you know, African American women are some of the most educated women in America. And I think for our males, to me, all of that still stems from slavery and that impact that it's had on our generations.
And I feel too that the African American male feels the economics segregation more so than the male, because the fact that
Yes.
he's out there, you know, day in and day out, facing the different ways that he has to fight segregation. See?
Right.
And this is something that some of them have accepted. Some of
Right.
the black men, well, I'm not going to get that job, you know, because so and so, or
Right.
that job is for a certain group, you know what I mean? Or
And yeah.
or they make a big deal over being the first minority, being the first, you know, whether it's Chinese, African American, whatever, first minority. I think, what's the emphasis? Being the first, you know.
That is so sad.
To me, they think that's progress, but I think it shows that the system, anytime there's just the minorities are not represented in the economic world, that shows that the system is set up that way.
Yeah,
So that
it's a failure if you have to be the first
yeah,
to do everything. It should just be there.
right,
You shouldn't have
based
to
on
be
ability.
the first, but just based on your ability,
Right.
you should already be in
Right.
that position.
So
but
all of you graduates, whatever level it is, you have to realize is that, yeah, these are things, this is the true, real world, is that out there, you're not going to be judged just on your ability. You're going to be, a lot of other things has nothing to do with your
Exactly.
ability. But you have to
Exactly.
live in that environment, see? And you have to
Absolutely.
realize it, that it's gonna happen, and you don't have to do anything. Some people
yeah.
figure, well, I didn't do anything, and you don't have to
Right.
do anything to
If
be
you're-
victim of that type
Right.
of job
Right.
problem. See?
Right, and if you're a person of color, you know that you have to work twice as hard and twice as long to prove yourself.
Yeah.
But on my show, and we've had them here on your show, there are a lot of black men that are doing some positive things. They're entrepreneurs. They're working in their communities. They're making a difference when it comes to the community. And we need more of that. But the education, if you're not able to pay for it, that just really makes it
well, we have to
challenging.
get more for our tax money.
Exactly.
For instance, we're paying on the same tax level of everybody else, but we're not getting
Right.
benefited from the
Absolutely.
same tax money. A good example right here is the University of Maryland State School, and so is Bowie State. But the funding and money that goes into Bowie State and Maryland is ridiculous. You know, is that most people don't think that University of Maryland is a state school. It is a state school. And
That's where I went. That's where I went.
right.
I'm like, go Terps.
Right, but this is what they have to understand. They're not getting the dollars, and the reason for it is the gerrymandering of housing. Because housing, your district depends on where you live. If housing is gerrymandered, so will your education.
Absolutely.
See, those are things that people have to really look at. You know, speaking of the mail, you know what's coming up the 18th of June? I think somebody told me Father's Day. But, you know, I went in the store and and I said, where are the Father's Day gifts? Young lady said, well, I don't know. It might be that rack over there. They had 40, 50 racks, and they had one rack with Father's Day gifts on it, you know. And I say, why is it, you know, that Father's Day, the emphasis of Father's Day, and that's what I'm trying to do on the Ed Brown Show. It's that Father's Day, they need to put some more PR into it. Maybe that's it. So that the youngsters, with Mother's Day, you get flowers, you get all kinds of things, you know.
Right.
Father's Day, oh yeah, everything's fine, you know. They go to the garage and get a dirty glove or something, you know, or a tool set or something. Nothing real personal, you know what I mean? What do you think about that?
I think the tool set is great. That's what a lot of fathers get.
Yeah, go to the garage and find something for Father's Day. Let's see. And Father's Day is, you want to do it responsive to the father working, you know what I mean? And I thought with like Mother's Day, as loving is supposed to be extra love that day, you know. Well, maybe fix their favorite food or take them to the. But how many of you are out there takes your husband or your father or the male in the house to something special? I don't know. I can't hear you.
I think a lot of women and children do. I think they do. Mother's Day, well, to me, Mother's Day and Father's Day are special because children need, a lot of parents do it by themselves, but I think, too, it's nice to have a two-parent household.
Well, I think it's very positive.
It's positive, and so the fathers that are there they're getting love in the household, but even if it's a single mother or a single father, you know, we still want to show them.
But
show
the
them
thing that you know that happens is that no matter what economic level they have same problem, is that when the male is not in the household, there's always some kind of problem.
It's
Monetary problems. Also, there's problems with recognition. The youngsters, they have a tendency to honor their mother, I think, all year long. You know, who comes first? They come up and say, I want to do so-and-so. I want to go something. What's your mother say?
Exactly. That's how it goes. What did your mother say?
Say, what did your mother say? No. Well, that's where it is.
It's no.
Okay, so they're working together. Well, they have to work together on this education, as far as do the homework and make sure that their child is getting the exposure and they're getting something for their taxes. And see, this is the thing that I say. And I told, I was talking to one of the councilmen, and I asked him, when the last time the school board had an audit? He said 8 years. I said 8 years, and they send 68% of the budget. I said, it must be top heavy. You know? Like you were saying, is that the money is there, but people are not getting the money they should. They blame it on the child, and it's not the child. They blame it on the money, but they blame it on the environment. Say you're from a broken home. Oh, sure, psychological, that may affect the child, but still the county and the state, all of them are responsible for education at the same level. But education, that's one of the problems that they have. Education is not on the same level from state to state.
Absolutely. And we know, especially for children of color, if they don't have that male presence or that image, then their lives can change dramatically. So you need strong parents, but I think fathers get a good deal, you know. You go to Hallmark, they're just racks of Father's Day cards.
I say, well, you know what I want to do? I say, I'm going to mention the fathers, the dads, the grandfathers, and all those guys that sit back, you know, and when they time to buy the gift, the youngsters, they all get the cards, you know. But it's not like mom, she gets flowers and all kinds of stuff, you know. But usually, I think the fathers, they do not want to be fussed over. Some
exactly.
of them, you know.
I know with my dad, he's not looking for, you know, he just likes the big mushy card. He's like, don't spend money on, you know, buying me a gift or taking me any place. You know, it's always the thought that counts.
And generally what happens with the dad is that the youngsters are quick to give him money, whereas with the mother, they have a tendency to get something personal.
Yes.
Personal for Pops it's $20. Go get your.
Like you say, they get a lot of tools.
Yeah. and then they give them
household.
They give them things that, you know, that's going to work, that he has to work, you know.
A nice
well,
shirt.
You know what I'm going to do? Yeah, you got a shirt for Christmas, didn't you? Okay.
Yeah, you get a tie.
I get you a tie to match it. You know?
Then I'll get you some cufflinks.
Yeah, cufflinks. So I don't know, maybe the manufacturers, the limitation in the type of gift that they have for fathers. I guess it's our fault because just like Commander was saying, well, with the mothers, you know, from birth on, you know, they're closer, you know, physically, they're close, emotional, they're with the child longer than most men.
Yeah, you know, the mothers.
Yeah.
You know, hey, for 9 months, you have a relationship.
You develop a relationship. But the fathers, I say, you're doing a good job. And
Absolutely.
Basically what you want to do is, you know, get the recognition, you know, by, hey, when they ask you about a gift, I mean, don't tell them, see, fathers tell them a Rolls Royce or anything, you know. You know, they be kidding around with the youngsters, you know, a tie, cufflinks or something like that. But the uniqueness of the gift and the thought behind it.
Right.
Now, I think that depends on age level, you know what I mean? You don't expect much from a 2-year-old or a 20-year-old. You know,
When you get about 40, 50,
he said 40.
you might want a different gift.
But anyway, hey, let's Father's Day. Let's do something different than what
Yes.
we've been doing. Okay, Brown put a little bit in
Bless you.
for the fathers, and that's what is that, June 18th? I mean, give fathers something different other than that tie, shirt, or those tools, or things like that, or those sneakers, you know, or they Jordan sneakers or whatever. You know, give him something that's really, you know, he wants. Ask Mom.
Yeah,
Usually she knows,
true.
right?
Mom or grandma or a sister
Yeah,
or an auntie
either
or
grandmom
someone.
will
Yeah.
have more experience. You
Yeah,
know?
someone will help you out.
Right. Yeah, ask
Someone will help
grandmom,
you.
she'll tell you, or she'll tell you don't need nothing.
Right.
That's what it is.
More than likely. Yes. It's the thought that counts.
It's the thought that counts.
thought that
But I
counts.
like to end the show by saying it's very important for you graduates to think in
Yes.
terms of being a plus for your community. And being a plus is graduating, having an education. That's what you
Absolutely.
have to do. Yeah, don't let your peers steer you away from it. Graduate, I don't care what it is, graduate. You know, finish
Absolutely.
it so that you can be outstanding guests. And once again, I want to thank Camara for being here. Camara,
Thank
she
you.
on her show there. We didn't even get to that. You tell us a little
We'll
bit
get
about it.
to it. Well, my radio show is called the Stroke Diva Fabulous Radio Show. And as you know, and a lot of your listeners know that I had a stroke. And my
And you're doing
radio
a great
show,
job.
yeah, my radio show is part of my cognitive therapy. And so I have a lot of great guests.
Okay, we want to thank you for being here. And once again, Father's Day, Father's Day. And I
Father's
want
Day.
to congratulate all of you graduates, the ones
Yes,
from kindergarten
congratulations.
up to the master's, PhD. You're doing a good job.
Absolutely. Absolutely.